Hello, scholars, and thanks for your hard work over the last few weeks as you mastered a crash course in classic moral and political philosophy. You now stand on a firm foundation to apply philosophy to modern global issues. Last week, we focused on the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and we considered how Immanuel Kant and J.S. Mill would define justice differently. During the next 3 weeks, we will turn our attention to India, the world's largest democracy, yet a democracy only 67 years old, which faces huge challenges, yet has extraordinary potential. This week, we'll be looking at the way contemporary philosophers, economists, and politicians have reinterpreted and developed the ideas of Kant and Mill. Then we will apply their ideas to the situation in India today. Here are your main tasks for the week. First, you need to continue your participation in the U.S. Elections in the World Flex course. This week, we'll be considering issues related to the international economy and focusing on issues like the impact of globalization and immigration on U.S. jobs. In our small groups this week, we'll consider whether international trade deals like NAFTA and the Trans-Pacific Partnership are good or bad for the U.S. economy. We'll also consider the damage done to our economy by people who hide their income in offshore accounts. On the applied philosophy side of the course, we'll be preparing for an informal debate next weekend, in which we'll consider two different paths forward for India's economy. Should we embrace the philosophy of John Rawls and ask India's government to do more to provide basic services for the poor? Or should we rely on the strategies for economic growth advocated by Robert Nozick? Here is the debate resolution. Resolved, India must embrace Prime Minister Narendra Modi's low-tax, pro-growth policies and cut back on social spending in order to maintain a rate of economic growth which will eventually lift the poor into the middle class. As you can see by looking at the graphs on this page, India's economy has been growing rapidly since 1991, when the government turned away from socialism and embraced liberal, pro-growth economic policies. India's economy has been growing at a rapid rate ever since. The country's per capita GDP now stands at about $1,800 per person, which comes in about 145th in the world. But India now possesses a middle class of over 262 million people, and that number will surely double over the next decade. Business entrepreneurs from around the world are now competing for a share of that massive market. Yet today, more than 275 million Indians still live below the poverty line. That's 22% of the population. And these poor citizens are literally on the move. 7 of every 10 Indians still live on farms in rural regions. But the cities have been growing at rates of over 26% for years now. A massive migration is underway as Indians give up their traditional farms and villages to move to the big cities. In this unit and the next, you'll be debating the best path forward for India in the future, and you'll do so from the perspective of the two greatest philosophical antagonists of the late 20th century, John Rawls and Robert Nozick. John Rawls is the author of A Theory of Justice, the most influential treatise in political philosophy since World War II. Rawls justifies asking the rich to redistribute more of their income by asking them to imagine a just society in which they cannot predict the class they are born into. His colleague at Harvard, Robert Nozick, rebuts Rawls' argument by presenting a compelling defense of the rights of the individual, which would be violated if any government tried to implement Rawls's plan. Two giants of Indian economics today, Amartya Sen and Jagdish Bhagwati, take similar positions to Rawls and Nozick, respectively. These two economists have been the principal antagonists in a public debate over the future of India. This debate impacted public opinion in the 2014 election, which brought the current Prime Minister, the BNP Hindu nationalist candidate Narendra Modi, to power. Sen argues that government must commit to improving the health and education of the poor. That policy, would he believe, lead to greater productivity of the economy as a whole. Bhagwati argues that such massive social programs would slow economic growth and actually harm the chances of poor people to escape poverty. Massive economic change, rapid urbanization, a rapidly growing middle class, huge poverty, and a culture in transformation. India will be one of the major stories of your generation. So that's it for now. Please contact me if you have any questions about what's going on. Have fun, and I'll see you online. Also, remember to pick up a copy of Catherine Boo's superb study of a slum neighborhood in Mumbai. It's called Behind the Beautiful Forevers. We'll be reading it next week. That's it for now. Bye.